Sorry. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Oh my god. What? Anyway, hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Amanda and today we are here with a video about learning watercolour in a certain amount of time. I've called this 7 days just for ease, but it did go over a little bit. In fact, I started this whole thing because I wanted to participate in World Watercolour Month. If you don't know what that is, I'll put all the links in the information about that in the description below. But that kind of failed a little bit and I didn't really do as much watercolour as I wanted to, so I turned it into a learning experience in a short amount of time. And I wanted to do as many watercolour paintings as I could comfortably do in the time that I had and learn how to do certain things within watercolour using techniques and stuff like that. The first thing that I did was I prepped a lot. I looked for references online and I sketched a lot in my sketchbook and in my iPad. I tended to go towards digital a lot more because it was easier for me to move things around and change things as I went, but I really enjoyed just coming up with concepts and ideas that I wanted to do and finding things that I really wanted to paint. I started with ALLJArt's watercolour paper, but I soon decided to change that to the Winsor & Newton watercolour paper, which I had never tried before, and I wasn't sure if it was 100% cotton or not, but I don't think it is. But the reason I changed it is because ALLJArt's was a little bit too big and I didn't have anything really good to cut it down with, and I wanted something that fit into my scanner, and I was able to print out A4 sheets of printer paper from my digital sketches so that I could transfer it onto the watercolour paper. So I decided to change it to Winsor & Newton and I am going to do a review about that paper very soon. I picked birds as my theme. I wanted to pick a theme so that I could focus on something and make it all cohesive, and I really do want to do a theme of paintings so that I can sell them in my shop once I actually get a shop, and just sort of make them all cohesive and make it look like I done them as a series. So I started with birds, but I eventually got sick of that. In fact, I think so far I've painted 2 birds. I've sketched one out and put one on a watercolour paper, but I haven't painted that one yet. And then I went on to sweet treats, which is actually something that I really enjoy doing. The sweet treat paintings won't be in this video, it's just the bird paintings, as I didn't want to squeeze too much into one video. But the sweet treats were kind of my way of making things that I was proud of, because I really do like doing them and I can't wait to do more actually. So I will be posting a kind of speed paint-ish of me doing some sweet treats in the future in a different video. I also did a couple of landscapes in my sketchbook, and I'll get to the sketchbook thing soon. I want to talk a little bit about that, but I realised that I had never really painted landscapes either, and I really wanted to experiment with colour and experiment with blending and stuff like that. So I did a couple of landscapes and I'm excited to do more on watercolour paper rather than the sketchbook paper, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So I want to talk a little bit about what I learned from this and what I have struggled with. There is a couple of things that I struggled with. One being whether I wanted to paint it in a realistic style, a cartoony style, or somewhere in between. I think I settled for somewhere in between just because it was easier for me to do. I just didn't know when to stop, and if I didn't stop then it became more realistic, and if I didn't do enough it became more cartoony but not good cartoon, like as if it was meant to be realistic but it ended up me not being able to do it properly and it just ended up as a cartoon thing. I don't know, I am struggling with my style a lot, and I'm just doing whatever comes to mind first and hoping that I find a style somewhere. Like, I'm not trying to look for it, I'm just trying to let it come out on its own. So I did struggle with that, but I had fun with the paintings that I done. There was some big mistakes that I made, especially in the first one that you see, but I had fun and I enjoyed doing them, and I enjoyed the outcome of a lot of the paintings. So on to the things that I learned about watercolour this week, or this past couple of weeks that I've been on and off doing this project or experiment, one of the things that I actually knew was the key, or at least one of the keys to watercolour, is patience, and I didn't really accept that before. I just kind of always didn't let it dry, and I would get impatient, and then I would just watercolour some more and it would bleed all together, and then I would just give up because it was annoying that my paint was bleeding into each other and I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. But once I accepted patience as a key factor to getting good results with watercolour, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the glazing thing over dry watercolour. I enjoyed like just stepping away from the painting and coming back later, and I think that helped a lot with me being able to finish a painting and being able to get the results that I wanted, because I was having fresh eyes when I went back to it. If you paint a layer on it and then step away, sometimes I stepped away for days, like I wouldn't go back to it for days, and there is a couple of bad things about stepping away for days, but there's also good things about stepping away for that amount of time as well. The bad thing is that I kind of got scared to go back to the painting and work on it again, because I am the type of person, and always have been, but don't want to be, the type of person that kind of, once you step away from an art project, you can't go back and do more work to it, which is stupid, because like, you know, oil painters, they take months to do paintings, or even colour pencil artists, and everybody that does long process art doesn't do it in one sitting. But I always found that I would do it in one sitting, and because I've done it in one sitting, I just go with the direction that I'm going in, and I don't change anything, I don't think about it, I just do it, and it ends up only taking me about 3 or 4 hours, and then I don't get the results that I want because I've not put as much work into it as I could have, because I'm just trying to rush to get it done because I need to get it done in that setting, which is something that I learned is not right. You should be able to step away from it and be patient with the watercolour drying, but also be patient with the results as well. You don't have to rush to the results, you need to enjoy the process and have fun doing it, and that's exactly what I did this week. The other thing I learned, and this is something that I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video, is that I actually don't like working in sketchbooks anymore for watercolour, just because I enjoy the cotton paper. Now, I'm not saying that all sketchbooks don't have good paper in them, but the paper that I have in the sketchbooks that I have isn't the best. They're good for quick sketches and stuff, but I don't like doing it anymore because it doesn't take as much layers as I would like it to. It buckles a lot. There is ways that you could obviously avoid that, and I have done beautiful, lovely paintings that I'm proud of in sketchbooks, but I just like loose leaf, which is weird because I started off art as loose leaf work, like always did loose leaf work, and then later on in the my artist life I discovered sketchbooks and I was obsessed with sketchbooks, and now I've went back to loose leaf, but it's not loose leaf as in like printer paper like I used to do. It's more quality paper that I am more tending to draw to. That was not a sentence that made sense, but let's move on. And the other thing is that I don't like using those aqua brushes, you know, the ones that you fill up and it has water in them. I do like them for like when I'm sitting on the couch and I'm just doing sketches and stuff, but a lot of artists use them now in place of their watercolour professional brushes, and I've discovered that I can get a lot more variety and a lot more control with actual watercolour brushes, which is weird because I didn't feel like I did before. I felt like I only had control of aqua brushes, but now I feel like I have more control with the proper watercolour brushes, which is so weird but awesome as well. The third thing that I learned about this whole watercolour experience is that masking tape matters. If you follow me on Twitter, or you've seen some of my Discord messages or whatever, I've been asking for recommendations to do with masking tape, and I had a low-tack masking tape that I used to paint my old house, and I used that and it came up halfway through the painting, and obviously the paper buckled in a weird way and it wouldn't stick, so I went on a hunt for masking tape, and I was actually going to get a couple of brands and do like a battle of a masking tape video, but I decided not to because I couldn't find enough brands to compare to. But I got the stronger stuff, but I also realised that the stronger stuff is scary because I usually tape my watercolour pieces onto a board, but I wanted to work on mixing charts as well, so I just decided to stick that to my table. And my table doesn't belong to me, I'm renting a place and it comes with furniture, and I put the masking tape directly onto the paper, the table, and when I tore it up or peeled it off, it tore the finish of the table up, because it's a really cheap table and it just has like this vinyl cover or whatever, I don't know what it is, but it just basically tore it up, and now I have white markings on my table. So masking tape matters, make sure you've got the right one, and make sure you tape it to a board that's like indestructible, because it will ruin your furniture. But the most important thing that I learned about this week and watercolour is that watercolour isn't as scary as I thought it was. For some reason I just thought that it was such a scary medium and that I would never be able to learn it, and that it's just too good for me. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I always get emotional when I talk. But no, it's a good medium. I like it and I actually love it. Like I can't believe that I was scared of it for so long, and there's nothing scary about it. It's fun, it's exciting, it's a unique medium, and it's translucent, but you can also make it opaque, and it's awesome. Like, I love it. Yeah, the only way to learn something is to do it. That's the only way that you can learn and get comfortable with something, is to actually do it. And me saying, right, I'm going to learn this medium and it's going to take this long time and I'm going to learn this technique and this technique, it really did push me to get past the fear and get past the barrier that was stopping me from doing watercolour. And now it's something that I always just want to do. I want to do watercolour. Like, that's my favourite medium now. I would like you to tell me in the comments if you have been scared to learn something, and if you've decided to learn it, and how you got on, and if there's any tips about watercolour or any other medium that you would like to share with us. Leave it in the comments below. Also, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and click the notification bell, subscribe and all that fun stuff, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.